What is this? We're charging the CBC with hate speech. What the fuck am I looking at? Who is this? What am I? Holy shit, 500,000 views for a 24,000 subscriber channel. Whoo boy!
We're filing for hate speech charges against the CBC. Here's why.
Let me know. Tell me.
In February of last year, the CBC published an article called Dear White People. The article is a series of attacks against European Canadians.
All right, let's take a look. Dear Qualun... so, judging from the title, I'm going to assume this is some sort of indigenous or native article. I mean, or is this like a French word? I don't fucking know. Recognize and admit your power and privilege in the fact you are benefiting from racist systems. Okay, so far so good. You know, nothing about this is racist. Let's take a look. Dear white people, we have been living in the same Nunavut cities and towns. Okay, this is an Inuit word. Okay, yeah, so it's an indigenous thing, okay. For some time now. In fact, the collective relationship is sometimes held up as innovative governance and Inuit self-determination. See, look, I could have read a little further. Yet you, the non-Inuit in our territory, rarely reflect that assumption, rather the opposite. I have thought a lot about the level of damage having a highly transient, mostly white population does to Nunavut. So wait, this is a letter being written from a native person talking about the attitudes of the colonial white population? Okay. The indifference to social conditions, the policy inertia, and all the collective microaggressions that maintain an impoverished Inuit population. I think these trends are palpable on other indigenous territories as well. So for those interested in changing the state of affair, here are ways you can maybe be a better white person, or may I suggest an ally. What? Is this racist? So far? This is literally like a highly disprivileged group talking about the ways in which they can engage with their literal colonial oppressors. I mean, the indigenous groups would have, like, on a moral level, and I think even Nazis would agree with this, considering their perspective on natives and immigration. I'm pretty sure these people would have the moral right to, like, violently rise up against their colonial powers. So I'm pretty sure that writing a strongly worded article, I was expecting this to be way worse. But hey, maybe, like, if we go a little further, maybe it's going to get worse. Let's take a look. As a preface to this letter, let me say that I do not dislike or hate you. It is out of love for myself and the communities that I share. More, even though this is primarily addressed to white people, white supremacy is common amongst people of all backgrounds, including Inuit, either to get ahead or to not be left behind. Oh, so they're not even talking to white people. They're talking to the people who support white supremacy, which in most cases, presumably, will be white people, but they're even calling out Inuit people who fall prey to this particular, system of thought. Wow! How intersectional. You are a visitor on Inuit homelands. No matter how long your family has been in Canada or Nunavut, you are a settler on Indian land. What is Nunavut? I feel like this should be... It is a northern territory of Canada, separated officially from the Northwest Territories via the Nunavut Act and the Nunavut Lands Claims Agreement Act, though the boundaries had been drawn in 1993. The creation resulted in the first major change to Canada's political map since Newfoundland, 1949. Okay. Families populous. It has a population of 36,000? Holy shit, that's nothing! Okay. Mostly Inuit spread over a... Okay. So it's mostly Inuit population. So it's the northernmost province of Canada. This is like bumfuck cold territory. Let me tell you. Hey, listen, even if you're a white supremacist, don't you want to leave like this to the non-white people? I'm just saying, as someone who hates cold weather, Jesus fucking Christ. God damn. This is like the frozen asshole of the world. Holy shit. I imagine there's a lot of oil drilling up there. Right? There's probably a lot of oil drilling, so a lot of the white population would probably be like the families of oil, or fishing maybe? That's just a guess of mine. I'm just curious. It's such a cold place to live. Mining? Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, the indigenous population of Canada is treated pretty poorly. But anyway, being close to Inuit, being proximate, does not make you an expert and voice for Inuit. Okay, that makes sense to me. It is common for white professionals like you to use working in Nunavut or with Inuit to embellish a resume. After working with or studying Inuit, many suddenly become an expert on Inuit or Inuit Nunangat. Okay, I mean, that seems obnoxious. Fair. Call it out, Queen. Meritocracy is a system that assumes everyone is on a level playing field, i.e., education, skills, and experience, and are considered based on their qualifications. Yeah, okay, so calling out the idea of meritocracy existing. True, fair, fine. Attitudes that the North/Inuit Nunangat is inferior and backwards are common. That seems like a pretty racist thing for other people to believe. Reverse racism, or racism against white people, doesn't exist. So I do want to clarify on this, okay? I can see how some people would have an issue with this specifically. Now, academically, sometimes people will say racism equals prejudice plus power, meaning that racism isn't just racial prejudice. Racism is when you reinforce a systemic, institutional racial prejudice against like a group of people or an individual. I don't use that definition anymore because I find that it's really difficult to get people to understand the difference between a black person being racist against a white person and a white person being racist against a black person if I say that one of those things isn't actually racist. So what the article writer here would probably say is that it is possible for an Inuit person to be prejudiced against a white person, because that I'm familiar with this terminology, but a white person is capable of being racist against an Inuit person. I just don't like the optics of this like distinction, and I'm sure that if I had a conversation with the article writer, they would agree that it is in fact entirely possible for an Inuit person to be like bigoted or prejudiced or behave poorly with regards to racial prejudice towards a white person, just that it doesn't reinforce institutional bias. And that's an important distinction, mind you. Again, if a white person being racist to an Inuit person, I mean, this can span from everything from like you just being like mean one-on-one to the current shit that's going on in Canada. I mean, what's that? I forget how it's pronounced, the Wet'suwet'en. There's like a whole thing going on in Canada. Canada has a long-standing history of just brutally molesting its native population, its indigenous population. That's racism, and it's very systemic. Not so much a tendency of the native population to engage in brutal institutional suppression of white people. So that's the distinction. But yeah, I'm sure it's just academic and common parlance. Moreover, you cannot be the one to judge whether an act is racist, culturally insensitive, or appropriate. This is another thing I imagine some people would have like a contention with, you know, like, hey, I can't tell people when I've experienced racism because I'm white. Wow. And I do agree, like, if you're white, you know, that doesn't like completely remove you from the ability to have thoughts or perspectives on this. Not at all. I am white, and not only do I have many opinions on stuff like this, I will actively disagree with and talk down to minorities if I feel I disagree with them. I just have a very large penis, you know? Find me a black person. Any black person. I'll argue with them when I'm okay. Find me a trans person. Boy, do I got opinions for them. I love it, okay? This is more of a general, like, hey, if you're just some fucking white dude, you probably don't really understand what we've been going through, and you probably don't have, like, a really great, like, a sort of ideological basis upon which to make judgments on stuff like this. I think this is pretty common. Like, you can apply this to something in the US, right? Like, imagine that you're like a black single mom or something. You know what I mean? You're a black single mom and you've had a really rough life and you're just trying to work and get your kid through school, and like and you are at the like the checkout line or something, or the counter or whatever, and you're there with like your brother, and your brother's like 2 years younger than you, and like the checkout counter guy like looks at you and asks like, hey, do you and your kid want something? And like looks at your brother, and like you just kind of get huffy and finish your purchase and leave. And is that racist? I mean, there is like kind of sort of a tendency for I don't know, like this is very like tangential, but I've read before like sometimes that people will like naturally assume that black women who are with other people of comparable ages like birth that person, and it's simultaneously an assumption of like black women being like giving like having children early, and that like you have a difficulty assessing the age of black people or especially black men, which kind of ties into like, hey, this fucking 13-year-old black kid like looked at a cop and the cop shot him down and started talking about how the black guy looked menacing. Yeah, it's just this whole thing. And the point is ultimately that it can sometimes be really difficult to understand the extent to which somebody is being subjected to shitty conditions unless you've been a part of those conditions. So so yeah, this is just, so what this seems to me like, this whole article is just a very simple list on how opposition to white supremacist attitudes, and sort of like an angry rant about the ways in which the poor behavior of sort of the white colonial types influence them. Nothing about this. Let me be perfectly clear. Literally nothing about this article is racist against white people. Maybe it comes off a bit presumptuous or antagonistic. I can understand that, I can understand finding that irritating. But racist? Absolutely not. Not even fucking close. Yeah, no, I'm not seeing it. This is honestly pretty polite. So what were we getting at? Apparently the CBC is being charged with hate speech because they published this article. Wasn't that just an opinion article? Sure, let's go off.
People. The article is a series of attacks against European Canadians, formulated as a list of 21 ways that you can be a better white person.
I like that. See, it cuts off the fact that they then immediately, in that same sentence, clarified that they are actually targeting attitudes which are associated with white supremacy, and that those attitudes can be found in people of any race, not just white people. That it's an ideology they're attacking, not actually a skin color. Yeah, it only says that in the very same sentence. I can understand how maybe this guy didn't read forward enough, didn't take a look at the entire thing. You gotta double check those articles before you sue the CBC. You know how it is. Or wait, I'm sorry, it's not suing, it's a criminal complaint. What is this, some pussy-ass Canada lawsuit? What? Sign the petition. Damn. When did this video come out? This came out 2 weeks ago? Oh shit, somebody just signed. Oh no. Oh no, the D Live viewers that I've brought to this change.org petition are signing it. Oh no. My community. I'm platforming them.
The article claims that white people fill every moment with incessant talk. That white people fill...
Wait, where does it say white people fill every moment with incessant talk?
Every moment with incessant talk.
Does it say that in the article? Wait, this is the wrong thing. Stop talking over Inuit, cutting people off, or finishing sentences for people. These signal to people that they are not listening to or that you have answers for them. This is classic white-splaining and an expertise that is generally unwelcome. Also, you don't have to fill every silent moment with incessant talk. Shut up and listen. Whoa! What's with the snowflakery, my dude? Why can't these people just honestly represent... Guys, why are Nazis so dishonest? They're not saying white people fill every moment with incessant talk. They're saying the people who do this don't need to fill every silent moment with incessant talk. This isn't even close to a racial impugn.
that we should shut up and listen.
Yeah, they're specifically talking about the people who talk over Inuit concerns. Yeah, sure. Which they specifically said earlier, by the way, wasn't just white people. It was anyone who subscribed to the general tendencies of white supremacy.
We are willfully ignorant and uniquely fragile.
Am I gonna have to go over every one of these? Notice how close they have to zoom in, by the way. Wouldn't want any of the context of the sentence to seep in. Willfully ignorant. Here we go. Right here. If you've read this far, the most important thing for you to remember is to have humility. You have been socialized to be unconsciously invested in racism, and there are many ways in which you are willfully ignorant or racist. Yeah, sure. Isn't this article addressed at people who have bought into white supremacist tendencies with regards to the colonial attitudes that the Inuit people experience? If this article is aimed at them, and they earlier specifically said that it wasn't just white people, then yeah. I mean, you could say it's presumptuous, and I agree it is presumptuous, but it's hardly racist. What's the next one?
Willfully ignorant and uniquely fragile.
White fragility doesn't mean that all people are uniquely, or that all white people are uniquely fragile. White fragility is a specific sociological term that this person, by the way, hey, here's a great way to prove white fragility exists. To see an article where a sentence says that people who talk over Inuit people should not fill every silent moment with incessant talk, and then to assume it's a racist attack against your character because you're white and you're a fragile little baby.
That we should shut up and listen. That we are willfully ignorant and uniquely fragile.
White fragility isn't real? Let me make this article with scary music to talk about the Western civilization is under attack from this Inuit person in a Canadian province of 36,000 people writing about how they've experienced a specific type of white supremacy from people of all races. Damn, that'll show them.
The article claims that racism against white people isn't a thing.
We went over this.
And it makes a number of other anti-white claims.
What is this anti-white? Privilege is anti-white? Oh, this is a great way to show white fragility. It doesn't exist, by the way. To interpret the acknowledgement of the fact that privilege exists as a fucking attack on white people, dude. Holy shit. What a fucking baby.
Although there are many statements in the article which rise to the level.
Look at this. You are looking at the face. You are looking at the visage of a baby right now. Isn't that incredible? Look at this. How can one human, how can this whitey get so fucking ass pained? How can any human be so fragile that they would get upset and assume it is an attack on their race to acknowledge the existence of privilege? Look. This baby's honestly too cute for him, but here we go. There we go. That's what you're looking at. You've put the they live glasses on, you know? Now you're seeing the world as it truly is. You have peered beyond the veil.
Level of criminal hate speech. There's one statement which we're focusing on in particular, which is the article's claim that all white people are racist.
All right. All white people are racist to some degree because they are born and raised in a system made by white people for white people. Everyone. This is a really, really common like sociological reading. Didn't the Distributus bring this up with me? I remember a while ago the Distributus specifically brought this up as like evidence that I'm racist because all people are racist. By the way, it's not just all white people. It's all people are racist to some degree because all of us are born into racially hierarchical systems and all of us are influenced by those, social pressures. But this is an incredibly common reading, and it's also pretty empirically verifiable. But I mean, if you're really triggered about it, we can continue the video.
The statement that all white people are racist is a clear example of hate speech as defined by the Canadian Criminal Code.
I mean, maybe it would be if it was completely removed from all context that you deliberately excised from your spooky video.
The code defines hate speech as communicating statements in any public place which incite or promote hatred towards an identifiable group.
Whoa! Hatred? Nobody said, nothing in the article said they hate white people. Jesus Christ, the fragility! Hey, Folks, let me tell you, as a white person, I'd like to apologize for this guy. I promise not all of us are such bitch babies. No, this is not hatred by any way, shape, or form. It's a simple acknowledgement of a sociological reality that you clipped context out of because you wanted to make it look scarier for your baby audience. Yeah? No, I do not want chicken nuggies.
The Supreme Court has clarified that hatred in this context refers to an emotion associated with vilification and detestation. In our society, there is no one who is more vilified and detested than people who get labeled as racists.
Hey, white fragility, folks, let me tell you. So again, all white people, all people, are subject to racist beliefs at some extent. But if you want to twist the definition of words to this extent to pretend that you are the most oppressed, this is what he's trying to do. He's saying this fucking guy is actually unironically trying to make the argument that he is a part of the most oppressed racial group because an article from an Inuit person said that all white people are racist to some degree. I literally can't fathom being this much of a snowflake. It's not possible to me. I'm not capable. I lack the imagination.
People who get labeled as racists in our society get banned from social media. They get fired from their jobs.
Whoa. So have all white people been banned from social media and fired from their jobs? Wait, I thought that article claimed that all white people are racist. Wait, where's the repercussion? I'm white? Oh God, is this why I was banned off Twitch and YouTube? Uh-oh.
They get denied service from banks, and they are violently attacked.
Oh no, not Richard Spencer. Oh God, no.
Our most powerful media corporations celebrate and glorify the murder, torture, and rape of people who get labeled as racist.
Holy shit, dude. He's crying about this.
Our most powerful media corporations celebrate.
Damn, oh no.
And glorify.
Oh no, Django. Damn, he's whipping a slave master. Oh God. Oh no. That's so scary.
The murder.
I don't know this movie. I assume she deserved it because she's racist? I don't know.
Torture and rape of people who get labeled as racists. Prominent figures in Canadian...
What?
And
wait. Okay, we have the Hateful Eight here. I don't think the Hateful Eight was really that much about... Okay.
Rape of people...
I don't know anything about the Kingsman.
Who get labeled as racist.
And then we have Machete, which I didn't... What proof is being supplied here? That sometimes people who are racist in movies die? Is that it? Is it... Guys, I've got a hot take for you. Sometimes in movies, people who are racist die. Allow me to cut clips together with spooky music being put over it to really reinforce how this is actually a plot to destroy the white race.
Racists. Prominent figures in Canadian society, such as Dr. Matthew Sears of the University of New Brunswick, or Dr. Michael Capello of the University of Regina, publicly advocate for criminal violence against
these fucking snowflakes, dude.
Publicly advocate.
Oh no, 2 professors at 2 universities are okay with violence against Nazis. Something that, yeah, I think he said University of Vagina. Say that it's okay to punch Nazis or egg Nazis or milkshake Nazis. Oh no. Notice how far this guy is jumping all over the place. He was initially talking about how he's going to be charging the CBC with hate speech, but now he's talking about how the media doesn't like racist people, and now he's saying prominent figures like these 2 professors shown here with 3 tweets that between them have like 300 likes, are promoting violence against who?
For criminal violence against people who they deem to be racist.
Criminal violence against people who they deem to be racist. Again, we always have to, it really does reveal the ideological leanings of the person who made this video, as if you needed any fucking hint with Students for Western Civilization. But in case, you know, in case that wasn't enough, it's like how when people who want to defend Nazis but aren't ready to be open about it will say, like, people disliked Milo Yiannopoulos and Nick Fuentes because of their different controversial political views. You know, you can't just say outright Nazis, because what the university professor is saying, it's okay to throw eggs at people who want to commit genocide. I think that's a pretty morally defensible statement. I'm okay with that. I stand by that.
Always punish a Nazi.
Thus, to state that all white people...
You're gonna cry? You're gonna shit yourself? There's a fucking gecko on your head, you stupid asshole. Why are your fucking eyes so wet? Did you put teardrops in them? Or are you crying at the thought of the demise of Western civilization following the great Nazi egging? Gonna come?
are racist, promotes the vilification and detestation of white people.
Well, no, actually, it promotes the criticism of racist people. That's what the article does.
And it incites violence towards us.
What? The article? Aren't we talking about the article? What the fuck are we talking about?
There is no statement which better exemplifies the crime of hate speech than the assertion that all white people are racist.
Well, there is actually, yeah. Pretty much anything any of your followers would say are infinitely closer to hate speech than that. Especially since the actual sentence was all white people are racist to some degree because all white people are born into a system of white supremacy. And the same could be said of people who are non-white, which is acknowledged in the article because the article said that the tendencies they're criticizing are also seen in non-white people. But, I mean, again, I just can't imagine being this fragile.
In principle, we lament using government force to address these issues. What we would prefer is to combat anti-white hate speech in the arena of open debate.
Is this parody? I have a deep and unwavering respect for freedom of speech and for the desire to address this in free and open debate. However, I found an article that critiqued white supremacy, and now I have no choice but to go to the courts. Dude, what a fucking pussy. Just say it. Just say you want to deliberately attempt to exploit. By the way, just so you guys know, there's no chance of any of this ever seeing any legal resolution in this guy's favor. There's oh shit. We now have no choice but to abandon our principles. Have you read this article from this Inuit woman? Just be honest, my dude. Just say that you want to deliberately misinterpret the principles of hate speech so that you can hypocritically waver state power against people who are infinitely less hateful than you. Nothing will come of it, of course, but it did get you a 500,000 view YouTube video.
But we can't defend ourselves with debate if debate is not allowed.
What? Okay, wait. Oh, I'm so... Wait, okay, hold on. Hold on.
We can't defend ourselves with debate.
Hold on. So you were gonna settle this in the free marketplace of ideas. You know, you were ready to dish it out in the big brain debate sphere, and then you found that the Don Cherry debate on YouTube turned their comments off. Folks, we have no choice but to abandon our principles and we have no. I'm so free speech, but they turn the YouTube comments off. Damn them. Okay, we have to finish the video. Okay, all right. God, the white fragility on display here.
If debate is not allowed. When Europeans attempt to address our concerns with peaceful
We Europeans attempt to address our concerns. Wait, I'm sorry. What language are you speaking? What accent are you using?
if debate is not allowed. When Europeans attempt to address our concerns with peaceful discussion,
Motherfucker, you are not European. You are some kind of American. There is no way in fuck you are in Europe right now. No way in hell. They always do this shit. I thought he was Canadian. I don't even know if he's Canadian. Oh, look, they're also suing Facebook. Oh, that's so cute. They try for these little publicity stunts every once in a while. What is white nationalism? We're suing Facebook. See, and that was 8 months ago, but it didn't get nearly as many views. How far left universities create far right students. By the way, isn't this supposed to be students for Western civilization? Is this guy actually Canadian? Or I don't know, could be a Canadian or American. He's certainly not European. This video says we Europeans. I'm sorry, motherfucker. I want to see your birth certificate. Is this guy supposed to be a student? He looks like 35. Not this guy. Look at this fucking guy. Is this guy a student? Who are you? He said we European Canadians. Yeah, you can say European Canadians as a dog whistle for like white people, but when you just say we Europeans, nah, motherfucker, you're not European. A non-violent pan-European nationalist and autonomous student group based in Toronto, Canada. Student group. Where's the student group? What are we talking about here? We have all this cool LARPy art. Damn, dude, I need to get we need to get like more websites this slick over here on the left. He's got 2 podcast episodes. The first one was done 5 years ago. Nice. This guy's been trying to pull the grift out for a while now. We need a white students union. Yeah.
discussion, leftist gangs use violent harassment to terrorize us into silence. Social media...
Leftist gangs shows grainy video footage of nothing happening on a crosswalk.
Use violent harassment to terrorize us into silence.
Damn. We want to get some Christchurch footage up here?
Social media companies like Facebook have explicitly discriminatory censorship policies, which ban
discriminatory censorship
like
policies against
discriminatory
white nationalism. That's like saying you have discriminatory censorship policies against murder advocacy or threats of violence.
Censorship policies, which
also, by the way, advocating for white nationalism has nothing to do with being white. I mean, have you seen all the most prominent white nationalists? You know, Fuentes also. I mean, these people are. Let me tell you, it's not an attack on white people to be anti-white nationalist.
Ban white people and only white people.
Whoa!
Discriminatory censorship policy.
Dude, you can't lie about what the sentence says when we're looking at the sentence. Remove videos with white supremacy.
Which ban white people and only white people from...
What kind of retard falls for this? Like there are 500,000 views in this video. I know that all of the views in this video are people who are already Nazis or white supremacists, so they're all jerking themselves raw about this new bold attempt to get a 500-person legal, a condemnation against the CBC or something. I know that they're really waiting on that day in court, but like, look at this. Like right here, it specifically says white supremacist, which is an ideology and not a race. And then he just zooms in on the white.
Expressing our self-interested perspectives on these issues. And when we attempt to address our concerns democratically, candidates who are perceived to represent the interests of European Canadians are barred from full participation in the electoral process.
I didn't think you should deserve it.
Wait, what? Wait, this is a person being escorted off the stage by security. It doesn't seem like they had a right to be there to begin with.
European Canadians are barred from full participation in the electoral process.
European Canadians. He doesn't say white when he's defining his own group here because he knows that if he does, he can be closer linked to white supremacy.
Are barred from full participation in the electoral process.
I didn't think you should...
That's Faith Goldie? Faith Goldie, Canadian political commentator whose views have been described as far-right or alt-right, white nationalist or white supremacist. Dude, if you had such a good evidence against like the far left, because of course this isn't about the CBC article anymore. It's the same thing. Every single white nationalist video turns into the exact same video every single time. Remember when this video was about specifically commenting on the Inuit thing? Now this video is on the same propaganda screed about how white people are being discriminated against, and it's time for us to, you know, band together, and us European Americans or European Canadians to band together and to take charge and to stand up against corporate censorship. It's every single video of theirs turns out like this. Every last one. Watch a Black Pigeon Speaks video, you know? They all end, they're all the exact same content-wise. They're never about the actual like initial content of the video. It's just a mill to push the same like wave of propaganda. Also, you'd think if they had anything heavy on like the anti-white domination of the world, they would have something a little bit better than grainy video footage of Antifa standing on a crosswalk while nothing happens, a woman who is actively disrupting an event being removed by security, and an article from an Inuit person in a county with 36,000 residents complaining about white supremacy. You really think that you would have more on this, you know? You really believe, hey, let me tell you folks, if you want to bring together a scathing editorial on the crimes of white supremacy, whew, let me tell you, you are not going to be using grainy footage of nothing happening on a crosswalk, and you are not going to be using footage of white people escorting a black person off a stage. We have holocausts. We have the systemic disenfranchisement of millions of people. We have wars being fought. We have policies being pushed through our political systems to explicitly discriminate against non-white people. See, that's the thing about these fragile white supremacists, these victim complex addled pussies. It's that, friend, it's like that meme, you know? Wait, wolf arrow meme. Wait, hold on. Gotta end on a... This is unironically the relationship between non-white people and white supremacists complaining about systemic discrimination. Except instead of it saying me now and the old me, it would say everyone but white supremacists, and this would say white supremacists, and there wouldn't be an arrow in the wolf on this one. It would just be a healthy wolf that's just lying there like a baby, and it would be the white supremacists because they are babies.
Of European Canadians are barred from full participation in the electoral process.
I didn't think you should deserve a
That wasn't the electoral process, by the way. That was just a little event that she was crashing.
If you wish to study our case in greater detail...
Wait, what?
I didn't think you should deserve a platform.
If you wish to study our case in greater detail or to contribute to our cause, you can find more information at swciv.com.
What was the thing that happened at the end? It was just like a guy saying he didn't think another person deserved a platform? What does that have to do with anything? This propaganda is so fucking boring, dude. I keep saying this. Do you have any idea how boring Nazis are? Of all the races in the world, the Caucasian is the most tolerant and the least racist of all. Hatred towards whites is almost universally accepted. The word racist no longer has any meaning. The statement, all white people are racist, is probably the most racist thing anyone has ever said. Praying that you win. This is what we've come to in Trudeau's Canada. Yeah, this shit's super fucking boring. Don't send me stuff like this again. It's like there's not even any claim to disprove. It's just propagandizing, empty rhetoric over the same clip show of nothing happening because, as it turns out, white people are not discriminated against.